it's year 4, but it almost feels like year 3, doesn't it? Like, can we just get a do-over on last year? How are you feeling heading into 2025?
Yeah, it's last year came with a lot of silver linings, so I'm grateful for my experience, but I got all my eggs in this 2025 basket, and we are I feel primed, I feel ready to go, and it's only a matter of time.
Physically, how are you feeling? Serious, like joking aside, you haven't played a game yet. We've seen you in practice. Practice looks good, right? You feel good?
Yeah, I feel great. I feel great. I really I have a lot of faith in my body, and I put a lot into my recovery, so I think it all has paid off, and I'm really grateful for where I'm at, and how I feel physically is it's awesome.
You had said that you don't want to get back to the same level, that you actually want to recover, come back from that horrible injury, and be better than you were before. Kelvin Shepard, your new DC, says from what he sees on the field, you are better already. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I'd say that that would be the expectation. I think I'm still getting better every single year, and I think I just turned 25, so I think there's still more room for growth, still more room to hit that potential, and I'm trying every day to learn how to do that and learn how to consistently get better. So yeah, again, that is the expectation every single year.
Did you lobby to play in the preseason?
Did I lobby to play in the preseason? No, because I'm not a big fan of preseason, so I don't mind sitting out of
That's
those
fair.
games. I like when I put the pads on, when I throw my eye black on, I like to know it's the real deal.
Listen, there are some of us who sit back and say, like, what is Joe Burrow doing? Like, why does he want to play? And they're like,
There,
if we gave Zach Taylor truth serum, would he admit that, all right, he's making me play him? But I also appreciate the honesty from you and from others going, no, I don't want to play. Are you kidding me?
yeah, well, if I get a sack in the preseason, it's just you get up to celebrate. It's not gonna be, it doesn't count at the end of the year. It's just that's where I have my grievances with it.
I was watching a mic'd up today of Joe Flacco. He threw a touchdown last week against the Rams to a rookie, Harold Fannin. Like, it was great for Harold Fannin, but Flacco's mic'd up and you just see him go like this.
Yeah, that's a reasonable response right there.
It's like, I'm a man. I'm 40. It's the preseason. When do we get to the
Exactly.
regular season? All right,
Right,
let's back
right.
up. I want to talk about your new DC, Kelvin Shepard. How is he different from Aaron Glenn?
They are pretty different, he is so fiery. I mean, one of the most intelligent coaches I've been around. Uh, Everything that he's about, I love, and that's why we get along so well together. And I've been around him for the last few years now, so having him as the coordinator, we already have a really good rapport together. And yeah, I mean, I think me and all my teammates, we trust him.
He was the linebacker coach, and John Morton's been in the building before as well, obviously. But as I travel around the league and training camps, and I know you've heard this too, it's the thing that everyone's talking about, right? Hey, how does this team transition? I don't want to say recover, but transition to two new coordinators. Are you guys in the locker room kind of standing back going, hey, wait a minute, like, we won 15 games, like, we're okay. Like, don't forget about us. Like, all due respect to our coaches, like, don't think we're just dying over here.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I mean, it's in the NFL. It's you can have a lot of coaches plugged in there, but at the end of the day, if you have those cornerstone foundational players, I think you're going to be all right. And from what I've seen, our defense put on tape, I think we're elevated from last year. The we have the personnel that we brought in, the guys that we have coming back. I think we're all going to stay healthy this year, and it's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, that's part of it too. All the pieces at the end were in pieces. I mean, that's what's amazing. And again, we're not making excuses here. That was last year. This is this year.
Mhm.
It's amazing how you guys were able to get to 15-2, considering the way everything fell apart. It's a testament to everyone in that locker room. But you guys also know that momentum doesn't carry from last year into this year. So how do you start anew, knowing that you've been so close the last few years?
For sure. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about the NFL is every single year, even if you have every single guy coming back, it's a little bit different, And I think we're ready for that fresh new start and ready to handle whatever adversity is thrown at us this season.
Dan Campbell says that you've been wrecking practice. There's a Hutch rule. And for those who don't know, like in practice, you can't sack the quarterback. So like you kind of blow the play dead if you were to get to Jared Goff. But Dan says that he's not blowing it dead because he has to give the offense a chance to take shots down the field because you're wrecking practice. Is that true? Is there a rule?
You know, I don't really know how this all I think Dan said something in the media, and then I think some a reporter coined it as the Hutch rule. I don't think Dan has ever said the Hutch rule verbatim, but I think he did say a quote. But regardless, I think it's good to hear, and I think it's exactly where you want to be. I think I put myself in a good position heading into week one.
Are you the guy that like starts putting his hands up saying, "Hey, that's a sack. Why are we still going?" I was at a Eagles Browns joint practice and like it's Myles Garrett going after Jordan Mailata and there were plays that kept going and he's like what are we doing here? This play's dead.
Yeah, it can get a little frustrating, and then the quarterback will throw a touchdown, and everybody will start celebrating. You're like, wait, didn't the rush get a sack here? And so it's yeah, man, it's funny. Yeah, it's just that's why you take this time to get better, and that's ultimately what matters.
Couple of other quick things for you. Are you with me that not only should intentional groundings be called sacks, but that TFLs in the eyes of the media and the eyes of the stat keepers and the eyes of the people that figure out the awards, TFLs are just as important as sacks. Like if you drop Aaron Jones in the backfield for a 6-yard loss, it's the same thing. You lost 6 yards.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Intentional groundings, I do believe, definitely should be a sack. I think I believe they still are in college because I think I've gotten a sack off of an intentional grounding. At least that's what it was a few years ago. And yeah, I don't know. I think this game places a heavy emphasis on sacking the quarterback, and sometimes those run stops, although they're not as glamorous, I think when you're stopping the run as a defense, that just opens up the ability to rush the passer. So I think it kind of coincides with getting sacks as well.
Yeah, if you drop a running back in the backfield, to me it's the same thing. You beat your guy, it's a loss, and
Exactly.
it's a win. They're behind the sticks. All right, let's talk about the Packers here. You guys swept them last year. I think you won up there the last 3 years. This is a divisional game to open it up, a huge divisional game. You guys have had some big games the last couple of years in the opener and some big TV spots. But how do you feel about a divisional game against the Packers here, week one?
Yeah, it's definitely different. I don't think I've ever opened up with a divisional game.
You have not. I looked that up. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, I guess I'm right. Yeah, it's different, but it's fun. You have that familiarity there with that in-season opponent. You kind of have an idea of their identity and what they do and what they're about. So you almost don't have to watch as much film because you already have a good idea of what they do and the guys you go up against. So it's gonna be fun.
As you open up a new season, I'm thinking of Hard Knocks. You guys were on Hard Knocks 2 years ago. I'm watching the Bills this year on Hard Knocks, and there's this emotional moment where fans are talking about what it would mean to them if and when the Bills finally win. A lot of similarities between the fan bases and yeah, Rust Belt and Midwest here between these
Right.
fan bases. You guys have gotten so close. Have you allowed yourself maybe while rehabbing or while stuck at a red light to imagine what that moment would be like and what it would mean for the city?
Yeah, I mean, all the time. I mean, being in that position after the game when the confetti's falling, I think if you don't see yourself there, then um, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. I think that's everybody's goal. That's um, what everybody wants. And I know with Dan and with the guys that we have, uh, we're truly willing to do whatever it takes to get to that moment.
Aidan Hutchinson here on behalf of State Farm. Appreciate your time, man. Glad to see you back on the field, and best of luck this coming year.
Thank you.
The Lions, and again, hi, Frank Schwab. That was recorded before the Micah Parsons trade. Not only swept the Packers last year, they have won 3 straight at Lambeau. They have never won 4 straight at Lambeau. They, back in the 50s, won 5 straight at Green Bay. but that's when they were playing at
Old
City Stadium. Yeah,
Yeah.
so the Lions, and you're the Packers guy here, the Lions have a chance to do something that they have never done, but they have an amazingly high bar of winning 15 games a year ago and still falling short, much like the Bills, of making it to the Super Bowl. They are on a very short list of teams that it is truly Super Bowl or bust.
Oh, absolutely. And I love the interview with Aidan there, because you started talking about, you asked him, he didn't take the bait that much, but you asked about, hey, doesn't the world remember we won 15 games last year? And it's
Yeah.
true. I think everybody has forgotten this Lions team went 15-2 last year without a ton of defensive players. And I even mentioned this briefly when we had our Micah Parsons reaction show last week. Yeah, the Packers should be happy. We got Micah Parsons. Here we come. We're better. The Lions are saying, yeah, we're getting Aidan Hutchinson. They didn't have him for 2/3 of the season last year, and their defense still finished top 5 in DVOA and other advanced stats and all that. They get a lot of guys back. I think they upgraded corner, getting DJ Reed there after letting Carlton Davis sign elsewhere with the Patriots. I just think the disrespect for the Lions has been really strong. And even, Ben Fox, our colleague on the betting side, wrote about how all the odds changed with the Micah Parsons trade. One thing that struck me was the Packers are now favored in the betting markets to win the NFC North. Like, are we totally forgetting that the Lions won 15 games last year with one of the deepest rosters we've seen in a really long time? Like, this was a really good team last year. They get healthy. They get Aidan Hutchinson back. They're going to catch the Packers at Lambeau at a good time. We talked about Micah Parsons, maybe not being Micah Parsons quite yet in week 1. I don't know, Andrew. I have no reason to pick against the Lions to win the NFC North. This is a very good team that has been entirely disrespected all offseason.
I thought it was interesting there when he conceded that, yes, the players are kind of sick of the whole assistant coach narrative. I'm not making that up, right, Frank. I'm sure you've heard it as well. It's not just from other coaches around the league or other members of the media. It's from players. I've heard it from all corners, natural skepticism. And part of this is admiration for Ben Johnson as a play caller. Part of it certainly is admiration for Aaron Glenn. People forget it's not just Ben Johnson, the play caller. They had a pretty darn good defense as well in Aaron Glenn. And they think that that's really going to take a toll. I don't know the last time I heard a player or a locker room push back to say, we can survive a coordinator change, guys. Like, give us some credit here.
And I wonder how much of this is just it being the Lions. When this happened to the Eagles a couple of years ago, nobody made a peep about them losing Steichen and Gannon. Now, it did hurt them. And I don't want to disrespect Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. I have the utmost respect for both of those guys. I think they're going to be great head coaches. But I've used this line before. It's not like the Lions are holding a raffle before the game and seeing which fan in Section 308 is going to call plays, okay? Like, John Morton has been around a long time. He just was with Sean Payton for a couple of years. He was with the Lions before that. He knows what he's doing on the offensive side. Defensive side, Kelvin Shepard. He'd been coaching under Glenn for 4 years. You don't think he learned some things from Aaron Glenn? Like, those guys are great coaches. They are great coordinators. I have not had a conversation all offseason with anybody about the Lions without the names Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn being brought up. And usually we underrate the loss of coordinators. This time I think we're overrating it. Great coaches. I get that. But look at the roster. Penei Sewell's still there. He's still best lineman in football. Jared Goff is on autopilot at this point. He can go out and run John Morton's offense or anybody's offense at this point. 2 great running backs, a couple great receivers, Aidan Hutchinson back. Like, this team is stacked. It is loaded. And for them to be second behind the Packers and the odds for the NFC North, again, it's just blatant disrespect for the Lions. And I think it's probably because it's the Lions, because we think of the Lions as the team that's never won 4 straight times at Lambeau Field, never made a Super Bowl. This is a different Lions era. They're going to be just fine. I think they win week 1 at Lambeau Field to make some history of their own, and that sets a tone for the season. We're going to be talking about this during the season where we're like, we slept on the Lions too much in the offseason. This is still a very, very good team that won 15 games despite a slew of injuries last year.
All good points. Final thought here. I like the comparison there with the Eagles when they were coming off the Super Bowl in Phoenix, the Super Bowl appearance in Phoenix. They lost to the Chiefs. The idea that they lost both coordinators, you remember the coordinators that filled in for Steichen or stepped in rather for Steichen, and I'm drawing a blank on Arizona.
Jonathan Gannon was the other one. Their defensive
Thank you, Jonathan Gannon. You just mentioned his name. They lasted a year. right? And then you had to reset
Yeah.
again. And then even through the first month of the season a year ago in 2024, there were people circling at the Eagles' bye for Nick Sirianni's job. They barely survived. They barely beat the Browns coming back from the bye. Sirianni's yelling at people in the stands. And at that point, it looked like they were on the edge of collapse. And then since then, they become a bully. They beat people up. They win the Super Bowl. And now, we'll get to this a little bit later, but Sirianni says, we're not even coming out for the banner ceremony on Thursday.